I don't know, Faltoni. Is everything all right? That was a nice song.
I don't know why it just stopped.
I don't know. Okay, why don't you play it again?
Okay, here you go.
बंद कर डालो डर की जो खोली दुकान सर पे उठाया क्यों वेट किताबों का रख दो ना नीचे ये भार इतनी तो हल्की है बॉडी तुम्हारी हो जाओ उड़ के फरार बोलो बेटा 1 2 3 4 आस नहीं तो फेल नहीं आस नहीं तो फेल नहीं आस नहीं तो फेल नहीं तो डरना क्यों मेरे यार बोलो बेटा आस नहीं तो फेल नहीं ये क्लास है कोई जेल नहीं तू पास नहीं तो फेल नहीं तू टेंशन मत ले
Very nice, very nice. Have you seen the movie already, Faltani?
Yes, I saw the movie.
Do you think it deserves the AP stamp?
What is? Yes, of course it does.
Faltu approved. APA.
Yes.
APA stamp.
Yeah, and you know what? The APA stamp. What does that mean, Altu?
Altu Faltu approval.
No, it's the map stamp it gets.
Mahima. Mappa.
Yeah. Why up mappa? What is it?
Approval. Faltani, come on. What happened to you? आजकल गरमा गरम कुछ पी नहीं तो what happened यार seriously. अच्छा बड़े बजर आपको बोलते हैं कि आज सुन रहे हैं Good Morning Bay on your favorite network Radio Hotties, airing live and local on Radio Mirchi 13:10 a.m. and also 92.9 FM Badujan. And if you want to join our show, it's very simple. You can join us on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Day Hotties. Giving a shout out to everybody join us on Facebook. We do have some internet issues going on across the Bay Area. But इसके बारे में कोई detailed story नहीं निकला है. We're going to be definitely go research on this because may be a regular meeting you're going to have with your family, or it's a company meeting you're going to have. Many of us actually have had internet outages at different places. So we have, even for us, even right now for the Belgian, we had to restart our streaming right now. It actually is on same page for Radio Hotties. Look up Good Morning Bay for sure. And let me tell you that it's time for us to go and check out the news in detail for you guys. हमने तो headline दिया था आप लोगों को, but अभी जाके हम लोग news देखेंगे क्या है news. मतलब what is the news on our MediaMahima.com, but is the news blog where we share the news in detail, where you also can go read up in I would say research also if you want it, because we provide the links to where we get the stories from as well. And abhi ke liye Faltani, what about the news?
Well, Banajan, let's get started with what's going on with the coronavirus pandemic. The United States has now reported almost 5 million cases of COVID-19. To put that in perspective, it took about 99 days for the country to reach 1 million cases, but it only took 17 days for the cases to rise from 4 million to 5 million. And that's not only a dire statistics. More than 97,000 children have tested positive for coronavirus in the last 2 weeks of July. According to a new medical report, that's a 40% increase in child cases across the states and the cities that were studied. Meanwhile, Brazil has logged at least 3 million cases, that is past over 100,000 coronavirus deaths, and Mexico is inching towards almost 500,000 cases. In the coronavirus update from India, 62,064 new cases were reported in India, taking the country's COVID tally to 22,15,075 cases, the health ministry has reported. India also reported 1,007 new deaths in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to 44,386. If you want detailed updates, you can go to MediaMahima.com. Let us tell you that the CDC on Sunday is saying that an increase of 54,590 cases from its previous count has been reported, and has said that the number of deaths in the United States also has risen by 1,064 deaths. They don't necessarily reflect the figures of all the individual states, the CDC, but they are saying that this is the tally. A major gas explosion leveled almost 3 houses as it tore through a Baltimore neighborhood on Monday, killing at least 1 person and critically injuring 3, while at least 5 others, including children, have been trapped, firefighters and media said. The Baltimore Sun reported that it was a natural gas explosion, citing fire officials, but they also said that the exact cause still remains unknown. Photos from the scene showed a section of brick row houses leveled with rubble strewn about as rescue workers climbed over piles of debris searching for victims. One adult woman is deceased as BCFD, that is the Baltimore County Fire Department, continue to search for more, is what they posted on Twitter. Let's go on over to our President Donald Trump. He was very active over the weekend. Why? Because he signed executive orders on Saturday, partly restoring enhanced unemployment payments to the tens of millions of Americans who lost jobs in the coronavirus pandemic, as the United States marked a grim milestone of 5 million cases. Negotiations broke down this week between the White House and top Democrats in Congress over how best to help Americans cope with the heavy human and economic toll of the crisis, which has killed more than 160,000 people across the country. Trump said that the orders would provide an extra $400 per week in unemployment payments, which is lesser than the $600 per week passed earlier in the crisis. Some of the measures were likely to face legal challenges, as the U.S. Constitution gives only Congress the authority over federal funding or spending. This is the money they need, this is the money they want, this is what gives them an incentive to go back to work, the Republican president said of the lower payments. He said 25% of it would be paid by the states whose budgets have already been hard hit by the crisis. Now, news broke this morning, Madhujan, that he is now reconsidering that because he will face a backlash from the states. So he's saying that he's probably not going to require that the states pay a portion of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. While all this is going on, let us tell you that U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin on Monday said that the Trump administration and Congress could possibly reach a coronavirus aid deal as soon as this week. But Democratic aide said the two sides have not spoken since talks collapsed last Friday. With negotiations at a standstill, it is unclear whether Democrats and Republicans would be able to bridge their differences to provide relief to workers, businesses, and local governments that have been devastated by the pandemic, which has killed at least 162,000 Americans. Eviction protections and enhanced unemployment assistance both expired at the end of July, slashing aid for more than 30 million people. And Trump, who signed executive orders and memorandums which were aimed to boost unemployment benefits and suspend evictions, student loan payments, and payroll taxes, seem to be in place at this particular point in time. But the Democrats are saying that it will provide little relief. While that's happening, let's tell you that polls are showing that Texans increasingly are getting frustrated with President Donald Trump's response amid a massive resurgence in coronavirus cases. Democrats say they have a real chance of turning a long-held dream into reality, winning the state's presidential contest for the first time in more than 4 decades. In recent weeks, Joe Biden's campaign has aired television ads specifically aimed at Texans, the first time a Democratic presidential candidate has done so in a quarter of a century.
What?
Yeah, they never campaign in that state because they think it's a lost cause. According to the state party, and made its first hires there for their campaign office. Texas is among the states targeted by a $280 million fall advertising blitz the campaign unveiled last week, part of a broader strategy aimed at putting Republican-leaning states, including Georgia, Iowa, and Ohio, in play ahead of the November 3rd election against the Republican Trump. With polls showing Biden holding a national lead over Trump and effectively tied in Texas, what is happening now is that the Democrats are saying a concerted effort in the state could expand his viable paths to the White House. Because of the pandemic, the battleground has grown, said Democratic U.S. Representative Philemon Villa, who represents a South Texas seat. So you can get more on that too on MediaMahima.com. Now, remember how Trump put all those restrictions on H-1B workers and everything? Well, top US tech firms, including Amazon and Facebook, filed a legal brief on Monday backing a challenge to US President Donald Trump's temporary ban on the entry of certain foreign workers to preserve jobs for Americans during the coronavirus pandemic. In the brief filed in a lawsuit brought in California by major US business associations, the companies argued that the visa restrictions will hurt American businesses, lead employers to hire workers outside the United States, and further damage the already struggling US economy. Trump issued a presidential proclamation in June that suspended the entry of a range of foreign workers until the end of the year, a move his administration said would free up jobs for unemployed Americans amid the economic fallout of the pandemic. Many people who are affected by this are those on H-1B visas and managers and specialized workers being transferred within a company on L visas, both visa types which are used by tech companies. So there's also a ban on H-2B visas with an exception for workers in the food supply chain jobs. So if you want to find out more about that and how you can be part of the brief, or you can get your company to be part of the brief, you can go to mediamahima.com. China has imposed sanctions on 11 U.S. citizens, including legislators, in response to the U.S. imposition of sanctions on 11 Hong Kong and Chinese officials accused of curtailing political freedoms in the former British colony. And also, in the Sushant Singh Rajput case, Mnuchin, Riya Chakravarti has approached the Supreme Court and is seeking protection from the ongoing media trial because she thinks that she's being subject to harassment by the media, and she's being tried on the media in an attempt to pronounce her guilty for the death of late actor Sushant Singh Rajput. So you can get more information about all this and more on mediamahima.com. That's all we have time for on this morning's Good Morning Babe and the Jan. We will be back tonight live at 5 on the Pam Pam Show. In the meanwhile, have yourselves a wonderful day, and here is another iteration of the Paas Nahi To Fail Nahi from the movie Shakuntala Devi by Sachin Jigar. Have yourselves a magnificent Monday.
दो मुर्गी तेरी दो मुर्गी मेरी चार तेरे मामे की सात सुर में जो तीन ताल मिले